Hello my friend. In this tutorial we are building together step by step an OCR image to text application, meaning you can write whatever, take a picture of it, grab the picture and you will get the text. But even if you got an image which has some text, all we need to do to drag it and then drop it here. When you drop it, you will see some interactions, some user interface feedbacks. The bottom here is clickable. When clicking on the bottom, we will get the text. One more time. This is the image and this is the text in it. To build this application, we're going to use pure JavaScript, and the application would be a front end and a back end. On the back end, we will build a REST API having different endpoints. From the front end, we will connect to these endpoints when we click on the bottom generate. This tutorial is made to be understood by everyone. Even if you are absolutely beginner and you don't know even how to write code, this will be for you too. I will go step by step, and if you follow me step by step, you will be able to build this application at the end of the day. And you could use it privately, but you could even decide to build an application on it and sell it if you want to.
Let's get started! So, I'm on the desktop now, and let me initialize the project. Right, let's clear. Okay, let me see, check where I am. Okay, I'm gonna open the code folder. And in this folder, I'm gonna make a new folder, a new directory. I'm gonna call it OCR-JavaScript. So now I'm gonna open this directory. Right, I'm inside now, there is nothing yet there, and I'm gonna use code dot to open it in VS Code. Here we go. Yes, I trust the author. Okay, since we are already in it, I'm gonna use npm init to initialize the whole application. I'm gonna give it the name of OCR. Description, it's gonna be image to text. OCR app, right? I like app.js. Let's go. Let's skip the Git repository. Keywords, author, it's me, the king. And the license, let's go. Yes. Okay. And as you see, just because I've done that, you will see I got this package.json here. Now let's install the main repositories that the main packages that we need. So here are the repositories that we need. I'm gonna make it bigger so you can see. Okay, nice. So npm I stands for npm install. I'm gonna start by installing, as usual, AGS, which is the template engine. It will allow us to show some front end, right? And I'm gonna download install Express, which will allow us to handle requests and response, HTTP ones, and FS for the file systems in Node. Malter for handling uploading, right? When you upload files, and then NodeMon, it's gonna help us to rerun the server automatically on saving, so we don't need every single time to restart the server to see the results on screen. And last but not least, this is what the whole video is about. Tesseract. It is the package that allows us to make this OCR application work. It is the package which help us to read the image and transform it to text. Now let's go. It may take a second, so let me pause the video till it downloads. Okay, I've done one mistake, which was regarding this Tesseract. I should write .js. Okay, now as you see, added 14 packages. Let me check. Okay, the rest is not working. Shit. Let me just copy the whole line, right? So I'm installing one more time AGS, Express, file systems, Malter for the uploading, NodeMon for the automatic running of the server. Now I'm gonna install these one more time. Let's go. Okay, install. And now if you check the package.json, you see AGS is there, Express, FS, Malter, NodeMon, and Tesseract.js. Let's go, my friend. Okay, now the packages are downloaded. The next step would be to start with the app.js. It's not a folder, so I'm gonna make the folder views. We will put our views here in the views folder. That's one. And then we need another one, which is public, right? The public folder. Our whole application will render in the public, right? And we need a file, which is app.js. Here's the main code will be, and that's it basically. Let's get started. So first I'm gonna create a variable, call it Tesseract. I'm gonna require Tesseract.javascript.js. That's one. And then I'm gonna also require Multer. This is to handle the file uploads. Require Multer. Nice. And then we need Express. Also one more time, require Express. Save. Okay, now I'm gonna make a variable called app, and I'm gonna put the express function in it, right? Because the whole application is an express application. And now, as usual, we want to serve static files from the public directory. So this public directory, right? Static files are things like CSS and JavaScript. Okay, so app.use express.static public, right? So we are using basically we are serving the static files from the public directory. Okay, and then we need to configure the Multer. Usually you do that with two steps. First step is to define the storage, right? Multer.memory storage. Okay, so I define the storage, and now this storage I'm gonna use it to define the upload. So upload is equal to Multer. It's a method, and then in this method I'm gonna pass in the storage. This is the storage where our file will sit down and relax in it. This storage. Let's go. Okay, give me a second. Here we go. So all I've done, I've defined the storage, and I've used the storage in the method inside the Multer. So what you could also do is to define the Multer, right? And the storage would be the Multer memory storage, but I just separated so it's readable, right? And this is basically the configuration. So I'm gonna comment it for you. Configure. So you can grab the code, comment it, and document it for you. Multer for file uploads. Okay, nice. Now I'm gonna simply set the view engine, which is the EGS. We've done that so many times, right? In the previous videos. Engine, view engine. And then EGS is the view engine in our case. Nice. We don't want to forget to what, because we are going to handle HTTP requests and response, I'm gonna basically parse the JSON request bodies. How to do that? Simply by app.use. What are we going to use? We are going to use express.json. Now there are different ways to do that. That's the easiest way. You could even use the body parse. I think there's a package called body parse. You could require it and use it, but this one here does the work for us in our case. And now I'm gonna define the first endpoint, right? The first endpoint, it's gonna be a get endpoint. I'm gonna use it just basically for testing for now. So yeah, so this endpoint will be on the directory, the empty directory, so the first directory, right? And what we want to do is want to send a function, call a function which has a request and response in the parameters. And for now I'm just gonna make response send hello world just for testing, right? I'm gonna show it to you. Okay, I'm a bit sick, so excuse me. Last but not least, to check these results on the screen, we want to listen. I'm gonna choose the port, write it down 3000, and I'm gonna log to the console. Server is at port 3000. Okay, it is as easy as that. Now let's run the server. So we got two ways. You could just go for node app.js, right? And then you see server is at port 3000. And now if we check the 3000, let me close this one. So localhost 3000, you see hello world. Okay, now what if I change this hello world to, I don't know, hello coders? save. And here's the thing, it will not change even if you refresh. Why? Because the server, we are using Node, so what we need to do to refresh the server one more time, and then now if we check or refresh, it works. And that's why we use the node mode. This is the usage of node mode. I'm just explaining for you. So now we use node mode, and we could get an error now. You could get this error, the same error, which is if you are using Mac, ZSH command not found. If you are using Windows, you will get another error, which is like path error, like this command doesn't exist or something like that. Why? Because node mode is not installed in my case globally. That's why I need to use npx, which is the node package execute. I'm gonna execute node mode, okay, where on the app.js, and now it works. You see, it works. Now node has worked without the npx. Why? Because it's installed already globally in my case, right? And npm is also installed globally, npx too. But node mode could be executed using npx, right? That's first. And second, it's not installed globally. You could install it globally. I don't recommend it. Keep your laptop or your MacBook clean and just use sometimes npx when you got such an error, right? Because it's not installed globally. Let's continue. Okay, so for sure that's silly. Hello coders. Okay, I love you, you love me, you're subscribed to the channel. Subscribe if not, like the video. But we need something better than hello coders as a response here on the screen, right? And what we need basically is some kind of a view, right? So that's why I'm gonna create this view with you. So it's gonna be index.egs, and here's I'm gonna use the view engine, right? So here's some structure of HTML using the exclamation mark. Let me make myself a bit smaller. That's much better, yeah. Okay, so this kind of head, we could grab it, right, and save it under a folder called partials. You can call it whatever you want, but it makes sense to call it partials. And this partial is gonna be head.js, right? Now we could save this head inside. Why? Because in the future, if you want to make like another one, not index.js, but maybe about.js or .ags, you don't need to write it one more time. And then you just include it using this line of code. Include /partials, right? / means in this directory, which is the views. We are inside the views here. The same directory of index.js. We are grabbing the folder partials, and inside the partials, we are including the head.ags, which is this one, right? Now this one here, we are going to link stuff in it, right? This is the head. So I'm gonna link the CSS. I'm gonna do that by /css styles.css. That means basically that you just think about it. This whole views is gonna be rendered, and the rendered version is gonna be in the public. Now in the public, we served already using this line here. Let me show you that. We served the static files in the public directory. The static files are stuff like CSS and JavaScript. So I'm gonna create these two folders, CSS and JavaScript, right? And in the CSS, I'm gonna create styles.css, and this styles.css is gonna be now let me just, because this is not a lecture on CSS, that's why what I'm gonna do is basically to copy paste the whole thing, right? It's the same the same styling as the same video, because I want to explain, we don't want to write CSS on these videos. Okay, so I just pasted the styles. You can get it from the link in descriptions. Nothing special here. Let me show you. I've defined some global styles, which are like global colors in this case, right? And some font. I've neutralized everything, making the margin and the padding 0, and used border box as the border sizing. Added some font size to the body. That means all the elements are gonna have this kind of font size. The hero section, I've displayed it to flex direction is column, and so on. Aligned everything to the center, and the text is aligned to the center. Justify content to the center. I've hidden the overflow, and so on. Then we got the hero success, right? The hero before, this is gonna be the background. You're going to see that in a second. That's why it makes sense to just see the results now. So let's see the results, so I could explain the stylings in a better way. But as I've said, it's not a tutorial for styling. Let's go. So back to the head.ags. For sure we need some kind of another title as document. I'm gonna just add here OCR application or app. Let's go. And that's it for now. Let's save. We've already included the head partial inside the index.ags, and now we want to write the body, right? So let's go to the body. It's pretty forward actually. So we've got a section, right? And this section is gonna have a class hero. This class is gonna be used in the styling, and we got actually also an ID called hero, right? Okay, now in this whole thing I'm gonna paste a little bit of HTML here. Okay, so all we need to have is an h1 having a class hero title. I just wrote down OCR, and when it comes to the h2, okay, then an h2 with hero subtitle app, so OCR app. Okay, what I'm gonna do is this one is better, OCR app, and then I'm gonna here write image to text. Okay, now we got our form. Now the form is very important here, right? So I'm gonna make the form, and for now I'm gonna just go with it very simple, right? I'm not gonna write that much, just the simple structure. We'll get later to it. So we have a div with a class drag drop area with an ID, also of drag drop area, drag but with camel case area. Okay, let's go. Now in this div we're going to have an image. This image is gonna have the class cloud icon, right? The source is gonna be image cloud svg, and the alternative is gonna be cloud icon. And then the theme, we still have another image, right? I'm gonna just duplicate this one, but instead of cloud we're going to have like image.svg. I'm gonna show you in a second what this whole thing is, right? So let's see it on screen. This is image icon, and then we got image and then hide element, right? Okay, before I continue, I'm gonna save. Let's go to the app.js. Instead of sending some bullshit here, hello coders, I'm gonna send some real stuff and render a page, right? So I'm gonna use res.render, and I'm gonna render index. Let's save. As you see, automatically it saves. All I need to do is to refresh. You see how it looks like? Since the styles are ready, the styles are taken automatically, and this is how it looks like. As you see, cloud icon. Now why cloud icon, not image icon? Because I got this class here, hide element, and if we check in the CSS, we got here some class which is called hide element. Let me check it. Oops. Hide element. As you see here, all it does is it adds it makes the display none. That means it's not there anymore. But we are not seeing these pictures. Why? Because we didn't add them yet. So let me add these assets. So in the public, I'm gonna add another folder directory. I'm gonna call it image, right? And I'm gonna grab the 3 images that we need in this whole application, right? So it's this cloud, then we got the hero background, then we got the image.svg. Now if we save, right, you will be surprised by the look at it now, how it looks like, right? Like there is no image here, and the background here is not ready. So let me refresh. Whoa, here we go. It's much better, man. Now these errors, we'll solve them in a second. Like there is some errors somewhere. We'll get to that in a second. Okay, drink some coffee. Drink some coffee, you too, because like it's important for coders. If you want to be a programmer, you need some coffee, especially if you are sick. I'm sick, man. Okay, so the image is there. Let me check. I could have miswritten something, that's why I'm gonna just paste these for now. Let's save. Let me refresh. As you see, I've misspelled something, so that's why pasting helps sometimes. Okay, now I'm gonna add a paragraph. Instruction. It's very important to write the classes in the right way. Instruction, drag and drop or click to upload. This is basically the instruction what to do. Let's check, refresh, drag and drop or click to upload. Nice. And now even if you click, I think it's not gonna upload yet because I did not add the input yet. So let me add the input now. So we add the input. Okay, so we are going to have file input as an ID. Let's go. So the type is gonna be file because we are uploading file in this input, right? Second, the name, I'm gonna give it a name, and this name is very important, right? Especially in our case, we'll need this name. So focus on this name. Be sure that it's file, right? Be sure that the name is file, and then accept. We wanna accept just particular extensions like PNG is a type of photo, JPG, .jpg, but also we could accept JPEG, right? You could accept more. For me, I'm gonna just accept this for now. But I think the tracer, it accepts even PDFs. But for now, let's go for these. Okay, nice and clean. Nice and clean. Now let's just check. If I refresh, if I click now, it's still not that obvious. Okay, we'll get to that. Then we need some kind of bottom, right? If you think about it, after uploading choosing the file and uploading it, we need some kind of input, some kind of bottom. So this bottom, I'm gonna give it a class hero bottom. Why hero bottom? Because this hero bottom is class is styled already. Then we need an ID. I'm gonna give it an ID generate, right? And inside it, I'm gonna write generate now. Save, fresh, nice. Now we got this generate now. Later when we click on it, something should happen, right? Okay. And now we got another section, and this section is gonna be the results section. Results section, right? In it, I'm gonna have a div with the class results with the ID results. Okay, it's gonna be empty. And last but not least, at the end of the whole AGS file, we wanna add the script. And the script, I'm talking about the JavaScript on the front end now. We are on the front end, right? All I'm gonna do is think about it for a second, one more time. Where are we now? Now we are in the views. But when these views are rendered, because here we are rendering this whole thing, as you see, AGS automatically render these in the public directory. In the public directory, we got a folder called GS. Inside this folder, we are going to write our JavaScript for the front end. That's why I'm gonna write /. That means after rendering, it's gonna be this whole file index.egs. It will be transformed to index.html, right? And it will be saved somewhere here in the public. Now in the public, in the same directory, we are going to connect to the JavaScript, right, folder. And in the JavaScript folder, I'm gonna add script.javascript. I'm gonna copy this name so we don't make any errors, and make a new file script.javascript. Nice. Let's save. Let's check what happened with this result, because we've added this one, right, and this one. So let's test the script. I'm gonna add something here. Test JavaScript frontend, right? That's one. The other one is this one. Let's check if it's working. The results section. And if we look for a second at the styling, as you see here, I've styled already this as white background color, and we got everything there, like the height, the width, so it should be a white box. Let's check now, refresh. Here we go, we got our white box, and let's check if the JavaScript is working. So Command-Shift-C on Mac, or if you are on Windows, just right click, inspect element, and here we go. If we open the console, test JS frontend, it's working from script JavaScript 1. I'm gonna remove it, it's already working. Let's save. Let's go. Okay, the front end is ready. That means I need to drink a cup of coffee. Oh, coffee is so good, man. Okay, now let's continue work on the app.js. Okay, now so we got this index rendered. If you think about it for a second, let's first test if everything could be uploaded or not yet. Well, not yet. Why? Because we need to write the JavaScript for this one, right? That's why we connected the JavaScript. But now I'm asking the question, should I write the logic of the uploading first or prepare the backend first? And now I'm thinking about it. Let me finish the front end first, right? So want to be able to drag and drop files here. That's one. Or we need to be able to click on it and choose the file from our PC. Okay, so in the views, in the public, in the JavaScript script, we need the script, right? Here we go. So first I'm gonna just get the elements, get the right elements. So for example, I'm gonna get the drag down area with the ID, right? And I'm gonna get the file input, get element by ID, file input. I'm gonna do the same for the generate button. It has the ID of generate, okay? And then I'm gonna do the same for 3 different elements. I'm gonna do it later, right? Okay, let's go. Let's get started. So these are the 3 important things for our logic now. Drag drop area, the file input, okay, and the generate button. Okay, let's go. So let's start by writing the logic of drag and drop area. So I'm gonna grab the drag drop area, add an event listener there. This event listener is gonna be drag over, right? Drag over. When dragging something over into this box, we want to fire an event. This event, first I'm gonna prevent the defaults, all the defaults, because HTML has in it some defaults for the drag over, right? And we prevent them with this line. The second line that we are going to do is we'll grab the drag and drop area, and we want to add a class list, right? And I'm gonna add hovered. That means after this kind of code, whenever I drag over something to this drag drop area, it should have this class. And if we check the CSS, this class will add some styling. That means we will see it visually that something is happening, like an event is fired. Let me check hovered. No, it was hovered. Hovered. Okay, let's skip it for now. I'm not doing nothing. I'm doing actually nothing with the styles here for the hovered. So I could add it actually somewhere here. Drag drop. I forgot to style it actually. Yeah, this one here, drag and drop area. So we could do something here. I'm gonna do something crazy, like just to show it now. Background color red, right? Okay, let's check now what's happening. We want to try to drag and drop. You see, when you try and drag and drop, it changed to red. And that's exactly like this kind of line that I've done, but we don't really need it. It's like so much. I'm just triggering something now, just testing that everything is working. I'm gonna keep it commented for now. Don't want that. Okay, so this is the first thing that we wanna do. We prevented the defaults. Okay, now what if we leave the drag? That means we leave a file on it, right? We drag a file and we leave it. Want something to happen too. That's why, as usual, drag drop area, add event listener. I'm gonna add drag leave, right? On drag leave, we wanna fire another event. This event that we are going to fire is gonna basically remove this hovered class list. Okay, that means if we highlight it one more time, okay, refresh, it's gonna be like this, right? Let me try to grab any file from here, this image, right? As you see, it becomes red, and then when I leave it, it's not working yet with the leaving because it's not accepting. So in the HTML there is some error. Let me fix it quickly. Maybe some writing error, and let me check it. So let's go to the index, EGS, it was in the views, maybe I have made some writing error. Open on the other side. Okay, you can see it. Let me close this one. Okay, so I'm gonna paste this input. I think it was the same. Okay, let me check again. There is something weird happening and I'm not sure what. Because okay, it's turning red, and when I leave it, it's not accepting yet, right? Oh, we'll come to that in a second. I just forgot, man, that I prevented the defaults. So okay, so now drag drop area, I'm gonna add another event listener, and this one is gonna be on drop. So if I drop now something, and that's what should happen, like when I'm dropping something, I'm gonna fire an event, and this event now for sure I'm gonna prevent the default as usual, right? Because we don't want weird things to happen just because they are by default there. So I'm gonna grab the file e.data transfer.files. This is the standard way basically how to grab the file. That means, okay, I'm now dropping a file there. So what I want to do when the file is dropped on this kind of drag and drop box, when the file is dropped, I'm gonna grab the file. Here's how we grab it, because it's gonna be saved temporarily in the data transfer. It's kind of array. You grab on this array, you grab the files and you grab the first element, right? Because you could choose multiple files or drag multiple files together. In our case, I'm gonna focus on one. That's why I'm grabbing the first one, right? Okay, and then I'm gonna just for testing now, I'm gonna add something here. For example, dropped, and I'm gonna log the file to the console. Okay, nice. Let's save. Let's check for a second. We need to refresh. Okay, let's check now if it's working. Okay, now let's look at the code again. When dragging over, it's gonna be red. When leaving it, it's not gonna be red anymore. And then when dropping it, we are going to see the file on the console. So let me try it. You see, dropped. So now the file that we've dropped here, that I've dropped here, is already we got access on it on the console for now. Later we wanna pass it into the API endpoint, right? We'll get to that later. It's not a very easy topic, trust me. That's why, like, follow up, you will learn this forever. You could use it wherever you want. You will not find this kind of videos nowhere exclusively on this channel. Subscribe, man, subscribe, because I'm working hard for this. I'm sick, I'm still doing these videos, so subscribe. So let's go. Let me make it a little bit bigger for you so you see everything. Okay, now what if we click on it, right? Like, that's not the only way we want to upload files. Sometimes we need to click on it and then you choose the whatever you want, right? For this we need another kind of code, right? So we want a click event now. So the same thing again, we grab the drag and drop area, we add an event listener. Now the type of this event listener is gonna be click, right? Okay, now the click is gonna also fire an event. I'm not gonna put pass E as a parameter because we don't need to access anything on it. All we need to do is the file input and then the click method on it. This is like a method which is built in JavaScript. It allows you to choose from the, you know it, like it's everywhere. Well, now when I click here, you see, it gives you the finder. If you are on Windows, it will open the Windows Explorer, I think it's called like that, Windows Explorer. If you are on Mac, it will open the finder for you, and then you could choose, for example, some photo, right? And then it's uploaded now. But as you see, it's not showing here. Why? Because this is another way of choosing files. Like, if we want to see it on the console, we need this same line, which is here, right? We need it also here. We could do it. Why not? Let me do it, and let me pass in the E here. Okay, now let me refresh, and if I choose something, right? Let me also prevent the defaults. Oops. Check. Okay. Oops. Refresh. Let me choose something. Oops. Okay, this doesn't help. I'm just gonna remove it for now. Remove these for now. Let's stick to the mundane. I don't wanna test. I just want to give you the main idea, right? So you could choose for now. You could choose. You could click and choose. Now, what if you choose something and then you change it? Want to also handle the file import change event. So drag and drop area again. No, actually, we need that on the file input. So the file input. Oops. The file input, right? Which is the input field that we've created inside the drag and drop box. So I want to grab it and add an event listener. This kind of event listener is gonna be change, right? And as usual, we want to fire an event. This video is gonna be make you a master of these listeners and observers in JavaScript, right? So on change, want to first grab the file. So the event.target, and then we grab the files, check the first file. What do we wanna do with it? For now, that's it. We just wanna grab it, save it in the file. Okay. Now, if you think about it, we still need something. Okay, now after saving it in the file, okay, now you are asking, what is this file? We forgot to define it up there. So let file. I'm just defining it here. It's basically nothing, just being sure that it's saved here. So that means everything whenever we are triggering, and as you see here, I'm saving the file on dropping. So what's happening is the file is saved somewhere here. Now I think here, let me just check for a second. We could use this one, right? Let's now test. That was the mistake. If we choose now, you see, it's posted. And now the other way is to drag and drop. Now let me try to drag and drop. As you see, it's working. Nice and clean, man. Nice. Okay, now we still obviously need to do something important. What is it, chat? It is the trigger. Okay, like now we uploaded the file, it's saved already here. What do we want to do with it? We want to send it in the API, but we didn't define the API yet. That's why before sending it to the API, I'm just gonna make like a simple function for now, right? And this function, I'm gonna call it send data to API, right? And it's gonna have a parameter, which is the file. And for now, I'm just gonna log it to the console. Log console this file. And I'm gonna add something here like send to API. In the last step, I will add the real API here. Okay, when do I want to do it? We want to do it when clicking on the bottom. As you see, we created this bottom here, generate now. That means you upload the photo and then you click on generate now. It's sent to the API. The API does the work on the server. It sends you the text back, and then the text should be here. So the photo that we are uploading, it contains some kind of text, and the text that it contains, it's gonna be like changed to text on the server and sent back to here to the front end. And then when it's sent back, I'm gonna show it on this box. We'll get to that in a second. We didn't build the API endpoint yet, but we need to trigger the whole thing. So on the generate button, when we click on it, so add event listener, it's a click listener. What do we want to do? As usual, we want to fire something. Okay, so all we need to do is if the file is existing, right, like if the file is there, this is a truthy value. That means if file, right? So if file is there, if it's true, what we want to do is we want to send it to the API. I want to pass in the file, right? As you see, send API. Later I'm gonna connect it in the right way to the API endpoint. Else I'm gonna log something to the console, something like no file selected. Okay. Okay, but there is still something that we could do, which is a kind of trick, right? So first, when we upload something here, we want to change this icon. But second, this is always clickable, and it always gives us no file selected. So that's kind of stupid. So let's always disallow this one if there is no file, right? And if there is a file there, let's change this icon so we see it, that there is a fucking file there. Okay, that's why I'm gonna create a new function. This function is gonna be called toggle visibility. So the toggle visibility function, it's gonna grab the file, right? If the file exists, if this file here exists, if it's truthy, I wanna first grab the image, right? I wanna define what's the image first. So I wanna grab this image, and why it's giving this image, okay, class list dot add show element. Okay, this image we need to define it, it's not defined. So this image is gonna be basically image is document dot query selector, and it's gonna be dot image. You remember it? If you don't remember it, it's basically in the index.js. Let's open it on the other side. It's here, it's this image. As you see, the class is image, and it's hidden. It's hidden because the first one is cloud icon. Now we want to grab even this cloud icon, so I'm gonna grab the class and do the same here in the script. I'm gonna duplicate this one, add the cloud icon class, and give it the name of cloud icon. Is it everything? No, we also have the instruction text, so I'm gonna also grab the instruction text. Let's check it one more time. The instruction text is this one. Like when the file is already uploaded, we don't need this drag and drop or click to upload. It's already uploaded, man. That's why this one should be also toggled, as like the visibility of it should be toggled, switch between off and on. So think about it for a second. If the file is there, the image should be there, show element. Okay, what about the cloud? It should be hidden. So the cloud icon, okay, the cloud with you. The cloud icon should be hidden. How to hide it? We add the class hide element. Okay, what about the instruction text? It should not be there because the file is already uploaded. Instruction text dot class list dot add hide element. Now the question is, what is this hide element? I've shown you that already. Let's check hide element. You see, hide element is just displaying it as none. That means it disappears, it's not there anymore. Else, in the other case, if the file is not there, you see, if the file is truthy, that means this file exists, then we hide the cloud icon, we hide the instruction, and then we show that the image is there, right? Okay. Else, we want to just write the opposite. So I'm gonna grab these and just the opposite, do the opposite. That means we hide the image, we show the cloud icon, and then we show the instruction. Because the file does not exist, we need the file. That's why we wanted to show the instruction, we want to show this cloud icon. The cloud icon is basically this kind of cloud, which means usually that, hey, upload with this arrow, right? Okay, now where we want to trigger this function, right? Where do we want to trigger this function? Whenever the file is there. Okay, how do we know the file is there? Let me show you that. For example, after dropping the file, That means the file is there, as you see here, dropped, and the file is there, the file is saved. That's one. We toggle with the visibility. Second, also when changing, so when changing here, like changed, also wanna toggle the visibility. Nice. Anywhere else for now? No. Let's save, refresh. Let me try to upload anything. You see, it has changed, but to be honest, I don't like this red color. That's why I'm gonna remove it. Let's go for the red color, this one. I don't like it, man. Maybe I could use this one, which is the new dark. Okay. Let's check. Looks, I think, better. I'm gonna refresh, do it again. Let's upload, and you see now it's uploaded, but this bottom is still there. We wanna stop this bottom from being clickable whenever the file is uploaded. So that's why I'm gonna create another function in the script. I'm gonna call the function. Give me a second, man. I'm sick. It's a great feeling, man. Woo! Never give up. I'm uploading this video while I'm sick. I'm delivering for you, bro. So like the video. Appreciate the hard work that I'm putting here while being sick. So no excuses. Toggle generate bottom. So I'm gonna create a new function which is gonna control this kind of thing, that the bottom should be not clickable when the file is there. So I'm gonna create a new function, call it toggle generate bottom, right? And I'm gonna pass in disable. This is just a parameter, right? An argument. So now I'm gonna grab this generate bottom here, right? I'm just grabbing it, right? What do I want to do? I want to set the disabled to what? To disabled. That means I'm just grabbing this kind of parameter and setting it to the generate bottom disabled. Okay. Now the question is, if disabled, what do we want to do? We want to change some styling, right, in the bottom, because it's disabled, but it's still popping and showing like violet, right? So we want to change the styling a bit when it's disabled. So if disabled, then generate bottom dot class list add what? Disabled bottom. Save. Okay. In the other case, else, we just remove this class that we've added. And this class, you can guess as usual. Let's check this class, copy, up, let's search for it. You see, all it's doing, it's removing the cursor, which is like this hand, decreasing the opacity so it looks like it's not clickable anymore. And as you see, it just does some things. It stops the animations because it has some pulse animation. Let's check. It has some pulse animation. Now let's refresh. We did not trigger this function. We need to see where to trigger it, right? As usual, we want to trigger it and pass in something in it, right? So if we check first, we want to do it here on the drop, right? Want to toggle generate bottom, but you want to pass in something, right? So you could pass in true. That means disabled. Okay, true means disabled, but how to indicate if it's true, if it's disabled or not? It depends on this file. So that means if the file exists, so if the file exists, file is true. That means it should be on. That means it should be the opposite of the file, right? If the file is truthy, that means the file exists, then it should be enabled. That means it should not be disabled. I know it seems to be a bit complex, but take your time, think about it. Makes sense, right? The same thing should be happening also on change, like if you choose the file, right? But one more time, what about like the initial state? So I want to define the initial state. That's why I'm gonna define it somewhere here, right? This is the initial state. I'm gonna pass in true. That means usually whenever we start, it's disabled. Let's check. We need to call it here. Let's call it here just for the sake of order. So yeah, that means as you see, disabled. So true, it's disabled. As you see here, disabled. So in the initial state, disable the bottom when no file is selected. Now let's save. Let's check what's happening there. You see, bro, it's not pulsing anymore. It's not clickable. There's nothing happening. And now if I choose a file, drag it, drop it, as you see, the image has changed, dropped here, and this one is showing some pulse animations. Not only that, it's clickable. Not only that, the cursor is there. Wait a second. Okay, the cursor is not there. Okay, I could achieve that easily with if I check the bottom. Okay, I just need here to open the cursor. It should be a pointer. Let's save. We need to repeat the whole thing just to check if the cursor is there. Pointer cursor. Okay, you see now? Oops, it is the hand. Look at it. It's the hand. And it's pulsing and it's hovering. It's active. Now we click on it, send to API. Okay, now from the front end, we are pretty much done. We are done from the front end. Now all we need to do is to define this endpoint, define this REST API from the backend, right? And trust me, it's not that hard. I'm gonna show it to you. Let's do it. But first, let me take a bit of coffee. Let's go. No breaks. Or I need a little bit of. Let's go, man. Okay, now let's work intensively on the back end. It's very simple. Trust me, like it's nothing so big, so huge, right? It's about like 10 lines of code on the back. Okay. Okay, look here. We need the function that is gonna first accept the file. So I'm gonna define it here as following. Think about it. We are going to pass in the file. That means it's gonna be a post endpoint. So app.post, and I'm gonna do it on the API/text. Right, this is the endpoint. Okay, what's gonna happen there? First, I'm gonna upload .single, and then the type is file. So upload is basically this multer variable that we define. It's the storage from multer. Multer is this kind of library that allows us to handle file uploads. So on this kind of endpoint, we are going to upload a single file, right? And as you see, it's file. This is very important. It's a file, right? I'm gonna tell you why it should be like that. You could call it something else, but you need to be sure that from the front end it has the same name. Okay, and then it should be a sync. It got a request and response as parameters. And this arrow function, we're going to do something inside. So I'm gonna for now log to the console the body, right? The request body, just to check it for now. Okay, easy. We're just handling it. We're doing nothing actually, but I'm gonna do a simple try catch just for testing for now. So try. So what do we wanna try? We wanna try actually like to save the request.file.buffer. So that means one more time, I'm going to define a variable which is called file buffer. It's basically the placeholder of the file. It's going to be in the request, right? In the request, there is a key file, which is file, and in this file there is something called buffer. I'm grabbing this one. Okay, after grabbing this one, so this is basically access the uploaded file buffer, which we passed in from the front end, right? So what do we want to do with it? We want to pass it into the function which is going to change this file into text. That's going to be later. For now, I'm going to just do something like this, right? I'm going to get into in a second for the rest. Okay, else I'm going to just log to the console some errors. So error generating error, and I'm going to send some response status, right? Let me do it. So the response.status, if it's a server error, what is the code? It's 500, right? You should know these codes. These are very basics in web. So now we want to send a JSON, and the message should be generation has failed. It's a server error with a message generation has failed. Okay, that's what we are doing now. We are trying this one. If this one fails, then we just send this error as a message. And in the meanwhile, when we accept it on the back end, we are just logging something to the console, to this kind of console, so we see it, right? But now, what about this upload.single file? What about it? Let me check it. What about this one? This is important because it should be the same here. As you see, we did not define what kind of action should be happening on this form. That's one. So these are fixed. You need to focus on these. Without these, it would not work, right? Because basically the multer package needs these to know which kind of form are you working with, right? So first, the action, I'm gonna call it /upload, right? The method, what's the method? We define that on the back end. It's a post method, as you see. So it's a post method. On submitting, there is a post method happening. And this line is very important, which is the ink type, the encrypting type is going to be multiple part form data, right? Multiple part form data, as you see. It gets suggested, it's known type of ink type, right? So yeah, we need to be sure that these are set in the right way. Second, when it comes to this file, I've told you as we've created this input that you need to be careful about this file. This name here, this name of the file should be the same one that you define here. So if you want to write here image, we want to be sure that here we've wrote an image, right? And so on. But for now, I'm gonna keep it file on both sides. Okay. So now we've set actually like a lot of things. So all we need to do is to trigger it from the front end, and then we define this, we continue defining. So let's check if it's working, right? Let's check if it's working. So now from the front end, let's go to the JavaScript and this send API thing, right? So I'm gonna remove this log console sent to the API. And what I'm gonna do is first create a variable form data, right? I'm gonna create a new form data. This is standard, nothing special. If you don't understand form data, search for it. It's pretty simple. So form data, we want to append something to the form data, which is that the file, right? And it's gonna be this kind of file, right? This file here. So I'm just adding this file to the form data. That's what I'm doing basically. Okay. After that, I'm gonna make the post request to the API endpoint. Okay, how to do that? I'm gonna use the fetch method. You could use other methods, right? I'm gonna use the fetch method. Pretty simple, old school. So API /what/text. Why? Because we define this endpoint on the backend. See, it's the same endpoint. Okay, on this endpoint, want to first to define some things like the parameters there. What are we doing? First, the method is gonna be post. That's one. What else? In the body, we are going to pass in the form data where we've put our file. So I've passed the file first in the form data and passed the whole form data into the body, right? Okay. Okay. Then what should we do? We fire another function, like when everything works in the right way. We got a function which is gonna have a parameter response, and all we wanna do is to do response.json. That's it. Okay, but then this is successful. What we want to do? Then, if this one is successful, we wanna create another function, right? This function is gonna have a parameter data. Let me save, so it's more, as you see, it's formatted. Okay, it's formatted on autosave because of Prettier. I suggest you to install Prettier on your VS Code. It's really helpful, yeah? So Prettier is like an extension. You can download it on their extensions that helps you to format your code. So now the data, right? What I want to do first, I'm gonna log something to the console, something like API response, and then data, right? That's one. Second, I'm gonna save this result. So result div, or basically what I'm going to do here first to grab the result box from the front end. Query selector, or we could even get element by ID. It has the ID results, right? So I grab the result div, and in the result div, what I'm doing is now is to change the text content to what? To this data dot text. Pretty simple. Okay, but what if it doesn't work? Then we catch the error, right? We catch, then in the catch we got another function which is gonna be handling the error. So we got an error, right? And this error should be logged to the console. So log API error, and then we show the error. Nice and clean. Okay, now let's save. Let's try now to upload. Okay, it should give us some errors, but at least it will be triggered, and also it will be triggered on the we'll see something on the screen here on the back end, but also on the front end. So let me refresh, Ctrl+Shift+C, so we see the console, and let me now upload this image which contains some text. As you see, it's uploaded, and now if I click on generate now, it will be sent to the API. And as you see, we got some error here. API type error, failed to fetch. Okay. Whoa. You see this whole thing here? This is the data that we've passed in from the front end. From the back end, we've already saved the thing. logged to the console. So this is the backend one more time, and as you see here, we have shown this file buffer, and this is how the file buffer looks like. Okay, but now instead of showing the file buffer, we need to grab this file and exchange it to some text, and then we post the text instead, and then no errors would happen. Let's go. So to do that, I'm gonna define here some async function, right? This async function is, I'm gonna call it main. It's gonna have an argument, file buffer, which we are going to pass in, and then we are going to return the following. To return what? I'm gonna return a new promise. This could be a little bit like something that you need to reread to understand, right? So resolve, we got resolve, then we got reject, right? This is just like random parameters that I've chosen the name for. And here's the thing. Now we want to use this tesseract that will help us basically to change this image to text. So I'm gonna use it, right? And I'm gonna use recognize method, which is on this tesseract. You could read the documentation of tesseract, and I'm gonna pass in the file buffer, which file buffer that I've passed in here, this one, right? That we are going to pass in from here. So from here, I'm gonna pass it in, right? And this one is gonna be calling this function. So let me do that. So from here, I'm gonna call the main, right? And I'm gonna call it an await. So await, because it's a sync function, await main. What do I want to do? I want to pass in this file buffer, which is coming from the front end. What I'm going to do with it is I'm gonna grab the file in the buffer, call it file buffer, and then pass it in the main. Okay, let me just be sure that this is called result. So I'm gonna pack it into a variable which is called result. And now what we could do is to log this result to the console, but we wanna also response.json, wanna send it to the backend, right? So I wanna send it to the backend, and it's gonna be sent as text result. And this is already handled from the backend, from the front end. So this one, let's check the front end. Text, you see, like, where is it? You see, we've grabbed the text from the data and we've added to the result text content, which is on the front end, this kind of box, right? This box here. Okay. And then if we get back now to the main function, we need to continue doing it. So now we're passing in this file buffer, right? Which is coming from the front end. And this is an image. So we want to recognize it first, right? And let's assume it's in English, right? In English language. And there's something called logger that you want to define. These are standard. Like if you open the documentation of tesseract, you will find it. It's nothing special, right? These are standard things that you need to define for the library to get to function. And then I'm gonna console log what this info. Okay. I've defined the logger, I defined that the language is English, I've passed in the file buffer, and now we got the real work. Then what happens is the following. We got a new function, new arrow function, right? In this function we have a kind of object. Oops. In this function we have an object. This object has a data, right? As an element inside it. And what we want to do is basically want to grab define a variable called text. And this variable is gonna grab this data and grab the text in this data. After it's recognized, right? After it's recognized, we got then the response, right? So in the response, we wanna grab the data. Maybe you don't understand what I mean. So let's just try to log it to the console, right? Console.log. Let me grab the data. I will show you this object before I pass it in. So on this object, we need the text. It is how this object is structured. I've tested it. And then we want to resolve to resolve what? To resolve the text. As you see, this resolve is already here. Okay, but what if what if there's an error? All we need to do is to catch. When catching, as usual, we got also a function fired, and this function is gonna be the following. We are going to pass an error, right? And this error, all we need to do first is to show it on the screen. So we'll log it to the console, error.message that's coming from this error object, and we want to use the reject, this one, the reject function, which is passed in. Then we got the error, error.what.message. Nice. Now this line should show us everything about this kind of data. That this data is basically the response of this kind of function, the recognize function, which is gonna recognize this file, which is in our case an image. It's gonna change it to text, and the text which is changed, like there's so much about this image, so much, like for example, a file name, how much bits is it, how big is this kind of thing, right? So let's save it, let's try it out, and I explained for you with an example. That's the best way to do it. Okay, now let's generate now. I clicked on generate now. Let's check the backend. You see, this is the object which is already there. Let me check. You see how huge is it? I'm not sure how much is this one. So this is, a lot of these are coming from where, you see, this is the object. The object is a huge one. It contains like a lot of things. Yeah, it contains a lot of things. You got like a paragraph, everything, right? But if you look at it, let me open the image for you so you see what's inside this image that I've uploaded. This is the image that I've uploaded. It's from the internet, something random. You got like this one, right? So it got this text: a simple random sample takes a small population, equal probability of being chosen, right? And if we check here, a simple random, this is the one we need, right? So this is the text. That's why if you check the code one more time, what I've passed in is this text. But now I'm gonna just stop these console data because it's too much. Now I'm gonna save, right? If you check this code, you see it's working, man. It posted it already to the front end. Okay, now let's try it again. I'm gonna clean the backend. Let me clear it. Clear. And then I'm gonna run it. It's running now. Okay, I'm just gonna write something like JAD. That's important. This JAD, just because I want to see where it starts. Here we go, man. Give me a second. I'm gonna just put here JAD point, so I can search for it, right? And now I'm gonna, oh, you need to see it. You're not seeing, right? Now you are seeing. npx node moon, now it's running. Okay, let's go. Now let's upload it one more time. It's uploaded now. I'm gonna generate, send it. Now if we check here, you see? Okay, here we go. This one is still coming actually, like from, yeah, it's already here. That's what we want to. That's nice, and it's already in the front end. So all you need to do, one more time, let's forget the back end. You grab an image, you drop it here, you click on generate now, you wait for a second, and whoop, the text in this image is gonna be pasted in this box, and then you could copy it and do whatever with it. And this is a very powerful tool, right, of changing any image to a text. So you grab any image that contains a text. It could be some image like this, right, from your copybook. You grab it, you upload it, drop it here, and it will give you the text inside. It was so much hard work, man. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please, if you are enjoying the video, be sure to like this video, because if you like this video, man, you are helping me a lot. You see, like, I'm sick, I'm still doing this video, so I'm putting the hard work, I'm putting no excuses. So for you, there is no excuse for liking the video. Like the video, like the video, like the video, because you help me. I'm still a small channel, and you are my light. You are my chance to grow. So if you don't help me, I'm not gonna grow, and maybe I'm gonna stop someday. If you want me to continue, like the video so we get more people, so the hard work pays off. And with that, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and see you in the next video, my friend. See you, coder.